For decades, land in Karamoja has been owned customarily and used communally. However, in the 1960s, a significant portion of Karamoja's land was allocated to wildlife conservation and lately for mining and urban development. Most of the allocations and land acquisitions have happened without free, prior, and informed consent, as the land is owned and managed traditionally.
Why we are safeguarding our land is because we use land in different ways: cultivation, pastoralism, building on it, and settling on it. And we are producing, hence our children as well need it, and the future generations.
The rapid changing land uses in Karamoja have happened at a time when the government of Uganda is fast-tracking the implementation of communal land associations, CLAs, in a bid to provide conclusive proof for land ownership.
A significant amount of land in Uganda is held under customary rules, is held under customary traditions, whereby investors had to engage with a large number of people. And the government of Uganda realized this and therefore sought for money from the World Bank to improve land administration. Two objectives were seen here. One, to set up zonal offices, and one of the zonal offices is set up in Karamoja and it's based in Moroto. The other was to organize groups that administer customary land into communal land associations so that 9 people, up to about 9 people, are put to manage land on and for the communities. And this is what has been going on. The communities have simply been put together. They have received what they call a registration certificate. They have not received certificate of title. They have not received certificate of customary ownership. Their land has not been mapped, and this still leaves these communal lands in danger, and in danger to the investors, in danger to the people who would want to take it for trade, to take it for investments. And therefore, communal land associations have not provided enough proof, enough protection of communal land rights.
We are requesting the government to give us back the issues of land to be handled, because the government cannot manage. If the government wants to be involved, can only observe.
Land as a main productive asset influences several means of wealth accumulation for most Ugandans. Cultivation and pastoralism as livelihoods for Karamojong have doubled contribution to the improved growth of majorly northern Karamoja. Additionally, the discovery of minerals in the land surfaces of Karamoja birthed different economic activities, mostly mining, which has highlighted and redefined the approach to Karamoja and its communally owned land. These competing land uses are leading to land-related issues, and in particular, land ownership in Karamoja is quickly turning contentious and disadvantaging, more so to the vulnerable communities in this part of Uganda that has long inspired myths about its perpetual underdevelopment.
The other issue that is common in Karamoja is the boundary conflicts, not just between sub-counties, but also between the districts and the neighboring districts neighboring Karamoja. And it's something that has dragged for so many years. I am not sure we are about to get a solution to that problem. But the solution must come from the Ministry of Lands.
We owned our land in a customary manner.
Customary land is land which is administered through a multifaceted set of traditions and customs. This is land which defines our identity. It has a set of traditional rights that we are all associating with. This land is land that is put under the hands of the elders in Karamoja. The elders therefore administer this land and keep it in trust for the past generations, for the current generations, and also for the future generations. So this is why we call it customary land.
So now we want the Karamojong to consent to be asked to allow anybody wanting to utilize land with the consent of the landowners, who are customary landowners.
All forms of development we are involved in, they cannot happen unless people have land. They are secure on land. They can protect their land.
A significant number of communal land associations, CLAs, have been established in districts within northern Karamoja in a bid to secure rights to land amidst the current threats associated with rapid development in the sub-region. However, the process and structure of these CLAs are raising concerns of feasibility in securing communal land tenure in the northern districts of Karamoja. This has not only raised worry within the community, but it is also affecting the livelihoods of the entire population of Karamojong, arising from lack of proof or evidence of land ownership.
The CLA process involves a bureaucratic process whereby there are many steps involved. So any disconnect, any miss of one point means that the CLA will have to restart from where it stopped.
When it comes to the structure, CLA management structure, we have partners who have formed CLAs based on clans, and sometimes a CLA covering a whole sub-county, and we have different strategies people are using. It is something that needs to be discussed seriously here in Karamoja.
Out of the 256 CLAs formed by Dado Pelham and the Ministry of Lands, most of these CLAs have not reached to a climax whereby they are assured of their land protection.
Communal land associations would be a good way to go, but also the question arises, what were the previous strong protective covers for, let's say, customary land tenure? Why is it now such a ripe kind of tenure where everybody is encroaching on it for various reasons?
The law provides for communal land associations, but there was never a format for the formation of these associations. So the civil society organizations that took the first shot at having these communal land associations formed, at supporting communities to form these associations, took the shot from a point of what they think can work.
There is no NGO that called us to inquire on what we want as a CLA. None, not even the government, to guide on how we can move forward, to know the right thing and the wrong we have done.
Forming a communal land association requires documentation. So as you begin to document which households fall within which particular village, there is suspicion that you might want to sell their land or something like that. So it is important that, first of all, the process is not rushed.
When you process a document that you have the land rights, when you don't know your land rights, it means that the CLA is not perfect. But when you draw back to a traditional management system whereby elders decide on who is the owner of the land, I think tradition and CLA are coming together.
You will find a communal land that is as big as 4,000 acres. And to have only 9 managers at most for that big chunk of land is very risky.
It's therefore important that we explore, assess, and examine the factors at play in the tension between customary land ownership efforts and an aggressive modern land management system in the region.
CLAs still have that gap in that communities did not have the capacity, did not have the resources, did not have own resources to travel and ensure all these processes can be done.
Most of these area land committees are not trained on their roles in some areas.
We have worked with the Ministry of Lands to support training of the area land committees and the district land board members of Amudat. but the challenge is in all the districts. So it is something that should be done progressively and ensure that these area land committees are operational and have been trained on their roles.
It is with such background that it becomes necessary to revisit the efforts of stakeholders and mechanisms available to counter the growing land issues on the heels of mining and development in the region.
Can we put the executive of the communal land associations as the leaders of the major and minor clans? Because then that's recognizing the role of the elders.
Because it is the elders who are the principal owners of the land. They are the ones who know customarily that this land belongs to that group of people.
The move from oral to written is not an easy one. It takes a lot of time. The communities themselves are moving from the way of life that they have been used to for a number of years and moving to a written system. So it requires, first of all, continuous engagement with these communities, supporting them to understand the implication of the change from the oral to the written. So continuing to orient these communities to understand the change is something that is very important, and that partners working on forming communal land associations need to take that seriously.
Small units can be created for management, but they don't have to have broader powers to determine what is good for the community.
Women's access to land and other productive resources is integrally linked to the challenge, progress, and anticipation in addressing the land tenure tensions as far as communal land associations, CLAs, and preserving customary land gains are concerned.
From the cases that we have handled, we have noticed a number of issues that have come up pertaining to women land rights in Karamoja, in Kotido to be specific, because that's our area.
Customary laws state that land is supposed to be protected by our elders, and in most cases it is the men who are given the opportunity to take care of the land, to protect the land. But we see that in one way or the other, the men, instead of protecting the land, they take the opportunity given to them to keep the land, to protect the land, to own the land instead.
When we have these conversations of customary land associations, what does it mean to a woman? This woman who usually has access to land, who manages our land. And when we say customary land association, this woman will not have a say in this committee of 9 members. It will be the 9 members who will assume the responsibility of managing and controlling this land and protecting also this land. We have seen women demonstrating every other time when land is in contention. So it's women who play this critical role in ensuring that the land is protected for the generations and generations.
And that's why we are coming in to cause awareness, to do sensitization, to see that whoever is involved is giving the right information. We know the referral system. At the end of the day, we secure the communities, we secure the women who are working so hard to see that their families can have food on table.
What has since not been concretely documented before is a challenge, progress, and anticipation in addressing the long-standing tensions as far as preserving customary land is concerned becomes inevitable.
The one thing is how we can come up with a registry of customary land that looks at capturing all the interests of people on customary land, because you see customary land possesses tenets that are not possessed by any other tenure, not by freehold, not by milo or by lease. And the customary land registry is going to look at how we factor in the different rights, the user rights, the ownership rights, the control rights, the disposition rights for people on customary tenure.
Regardless of the detailed gaps and challenges, the first wave of community land associations echoes potential in mitigating land-related issues. Is it sustainable?
The CLA could be good, but we need also to see inside the management of the CLA. And when it is controlled, then there is some alternative. It is one of the best way for the moment to hold land for the people.
My take on communal land associations and the way they operate or the way they have been triggered to address a lot of the challenges, that unless they are still anchored within more communal groups or setup without delinking them from the protection of the community, they might not offer much, because also we have seen areas, even in Karamoja, where so-called communal land association members have been at the heart of selling of communal land, or have been at the heart of turning that land into freehold and then dispensing it off as private land.
The good news is that some gains can be achieved through these communal land associations, and this can be through ensuring that customary land tenure is for the people of Karamoja.
I now believe that our people in Karamoja can still hold their land in a communal land system.
But the power should always be with the community to protect, but also to determine what happens on this land.
We need to strengthen the role of the clan in land management, because we are talking about customary land, and the managers are the clan leaders, all the elders.
Not all of us are well versed with English, so if we could translate some of these laws, then we go back to the communities and sensitize them, empower them, build their capacity, even to the local leaders. They will be able to do what? To know what these laws are and how these laws protect them.
A concerted effort under the Ministry of Lands is what is therefore required to sustain this end in the face of the region's rapid modernization. Whether we achieve it in time remains the ultimate question.
The ministry has a role in ensuring that funds are provided in order to ensure that we implement what we already set out to do. If we had the funds to do this, I think that customary tenure would have now advanced to a state where we want it to be.
I would urge the ministry to go beyond registering these associations to eventually grant these associations either certificates of customary ownership or certificates of title.
Away from registering communal land associations, they should also extend support to mapping of common lands. It's in the interest of the ministry to have these lands mapped, because then it reduces conflict, it reduces incidences of strife on land, but also it gives a comprehensive support system to those who you've supported to register the communal land associations.
We cannot be promoting customary land registration without a customary land register.
If you have started fire and you go away, you will never know how the fire is burning and where or which direction it's taking. If you start and run away, it will not be good.